Alright, family, we are back with another one. In today's video, we're going to talk about Mercury through the signs. Without further ado, family, let's get it. Now, when we talk about the planet of Mercury, we know planet Mercury is the messenger and communicator planet. The two receptors above the head, I like to think of them and how they work together. And with each other. One receives the downloads and the other, to me, spits out the information. So one receives and the other spits out. So a Mercury is basically how you communicate and how you understand and process that information. So today, basically, I will go over Mercury through all of the 12 zodiac signs and basically its personality. So let's get started. Today, let's start with Mercury in Aries. So Mercury in Aries is basically the communication is energetic, fiery, commanding, fast, unapologetic. Mercury here receives and puts out the information in a swift manner. Speak first, think later type action. Aries is about getting things done in a quick manner. Open and friendly in approach, but a strong-willed personality that is excited about new ideals and implementing these ideals. So the focus on solutions rather than problems, but at times the fire energy can get itself into trouble and can be very hard to control. Basically, these people will curse you out very quickly. Next, Mercury in Taurus. Mercury in Taurus, the communication is deliberate, thought out. It takes its time coming and also making decisions. As we know, the bull is fixed energy and it does not like being rushed. So Mercury here likes to think things through and it needs time to make decisions. So practical and efficient in its thinking. You would have to adapt other ways of thinking if you do have Mercury in Taurus. So, you can kind of be more flexible to different situations in life. And believe it or not, being able to adapt other ways of thinking could work out very good for you in the long run if you do have this placement of Mercury and Taurus here. So information is actually put out in a calm manner with the Mercury and Taurus. It's efficient. These people do not like double talk. They can't do it. And to a Mercury and Taurus person, that's also a sign of you can't be trusted. So you can't double talk these people because they've already cut you out in their head if you go at double talking, fast talking stuff. These people are normally visual learners. They learn through colors, diagrams, pictures. Usually slow to receive information, not slow as in retarded. They just receive information slower, but once it's received, it's rarely forgotten. And it's because they want to make sure they go over everything with a fine-tooth comb and they don't miss anything. So they tend to slow everything down so they make sure they don't miss anything. And that's why when they really learn that information, it's never forgotten. So people with this placement, I also notice, have very pretty handwriting. That is a plus here. Let's hop into the next one, Mercury and Pisces. So Mercury and Pisces, to me, and this is just my opinion, this is a funny placement. And this is not in a negative way. It's funny because you have basically communication planet dealing with basically a zodiac sign that's more abstract and more into the intuitive and the dream state. So Mercury here is exciting. It's divine inspiration. Is deeply connected to the wisdom of the unconscious mind. So Mercury is not comfortable here because it's thinking and reason and logic, and Pisces is more, like I mentioned before, dream and intuition. So people with Mercury and Pisces, they absorb information on a very deep level. Now this can get them into trouble if they can't properly balance logic and intuition. So they have an artistic mind. They're great at math or anything, like I mentioned before, abstract. Practical concept thinking is not what's up here. When it comes to practical ways of thinking, they just can't do it. It's just not natural because of the Pisces energy here. So say, for example, they may have a grand ideal and vision, but they fail to execute it because they don't take the actual practical steps and actions to make this dream into a reality. So that is the downfall with Mercury and Pisces. Next are Mercury and Gemini. Now, of course, Mercury and Gemini is home here. These are natural social butterflies. They can be known and very good at networking naturally. Mercury, of course, is home here. This placement can produce rappers, writers, poets, debaters, um, singers, many different things dealing with the intellect and the mind. And basically, just the gift of gab is basically evident here. Very active mind, fast in thinking and movement, very intelligent, and they have to remember to slow the fuck down. Slow down, Mercury and Gemini, mentally and physically. This is a curious child who's always asking why this, why that, and they don't do it to be annoying. I mean, if they're in a mischievous energy, then yes, but most of the time, the child with the Mercury and Gemini placement generally wants to know the answer to these questions. So, just paying attention to every detail. Like I mentioned before, they can be mischievous when bored. So if the child knows that, they may be pissing you off by asking why, they'll do it just for the sake of doing it. So, also when it comes to forming relationships, they're very good at this well. And this basically, you can give this to the gift of gab because they know how to basically put words together and actually form relationships with people as well. And it's easy for them because they're naturally social butterflies. So with Mercury and Gemini here, they need to communicate, they need to express. They also need people to reciprocate this engagement as well because they love to communicate and they love to communicate with people who love communication. Next up, Mercury and Cancer. Now, Mercury and Cancer here is sensitive, they're shy, a little withdrawn, slow to respond, deep thinkers. This is because they're intuitive. They speak first before they speak first before they think. They're fillers. So they're compassionate. They're highly emotional and they have high emotional intelligence. They appreciate honest and vulnerable people. To fully understand things, they must absorb it on a very deep level first. And once they do understand it, they understand it. It's kind of like similar to Taurus. Once they understand it, they don't forget it. A lot of the time with Mercury in Cancer, they make decisions based on their gut feelings rather than their logic because they really are in tune with their intuition. So these people are very talented when it comes to the arts. So they may have an actual talent in actual art itself, literature, music, anything that speaks to the soul here for Cancer would be a go. Next up, Mercury and Leo. Now, Mercury and Leo, when I think of Mercury and Leo, I always think of those people who are very expressive when they're talking. They're very bold and very out there and just very expressive with their action, their tones, their words. That's all Mercury and Leo energy. So Mercury and Leo energy is the creative thinker. This placement is an indicator of, like I mentioned before, the flamboyant, the charismatic, the strong, dominant personality. People with this placement are energetic communicators. Great people to hire if you want to market a commercial. Perfect voice, perfect energy for it, Mercury and Leo. Y'all may want to check into some acting careers. Now, people with this placement, they're energetic communicators, like I mentioned before. They're able to speak and influence people with their words. When they're enthusiastic about something, they can spark interest in others too to be just as enthusiastic as them about whatever it is that they have an interest in. This placement, suggests that you have an inspired personality. You have great persuasion skills, so they'll be very good at sales, like I mentioned before, with the marketing, the dramatic tone of voice, the expression, the posture. Very Leo type energy. And Leo puts forth a lot of effort into building this reputation. And it loves it when others recognize its achievement because Leo just like being seen and like that recognition. So let's jump into Mercury and Virgo. Now, Mercury and Virgo are very intelligent, practical, innovative individuals. They can be very picky and demanding at times, but they're great planners, excellent organizers, and very task-oriented. with Mercury and Virgo, these people are like natural perfectionists. Common sense is one of the good things about this placement. They're curious, but they're scientific. Um, they live for aha moments. Mercury and Virgo all day. Overthinking can be a problem here. They're able to spot rules quickly, use them. I mean, they usually see through chaos. They can easily put pieces of the puzzle together. They find patterns in almost everything. And they're naturally good at it because they really enjoy doing it. So, with the Mercury and Virgo placement, they gather information, they memorize it in a logical way that makes it easier for them to recall the information. So, the next placement we have here is the Mercury in Libra, the balancing Libra skills. Naturally, these people are sweet, lighthearted, and diplomatic. They're suave, they're great conversationalists, they're quick witted, they're very polite and respectful. And usually people with this placement have a need for harmonious relationships, and their main drive is basically preserving the peace, balancing those skills, and keeping everything in order. They're very outgoing, flirtatious, and fun to be around. They often initiate their relationships. That is very true because Libras can be very friendly. So this is, a fascinating placement for partnerships. Although sometimes they may rely too much on external validation and what others expect from them, so make sure not to fall too much deep into that trap if you do have the Mercury in Libra placement here. Now, Mercury in Libra is able to see things from multiple points of view because they naturally like to keep the peace and they naturally like to keep things at balance. So they're able to see things from different perspectives. It can detach from its own emotions and thoughts, which makes it open to different opinions and experiences, and that's what makes that easier for them. They can also be smooth talkers, though, so be careful with the Mercuries and Libras because they can, talk you out of a lot of stuff. If you do have this placement with Mercury and Libra, it allows you to figure out counter arguments before the other person can even think about them. And that's the gift with Mercury and Libra here because they strive for that balance and they strive to have everything in place and harmonious. They'll be thinking ahead of people way before they even think of what to say and how they're going to respond to it. It's almost like they can read other people's mind. So that is a gift with the Mercury and Libra placement here. Our next placement is the Mercury in Scorpio. Now, this Mercury in Scorpio, to me, it is a unique placement. Kind of a dope placement, especially if there are any spiritualists, what I call like our occult people out there. This is a dope placement to have. Mercury in Scorpio. It's very powerful. Your words hold power. So therefore, you have to be very careful what you say if you have the Mercury in Scorpio placement. These people tend to be very intelligent, investigative. They can cut through the surface because if Scorpio is intuitive. And it's not just intuitive, like surface level intuitive. It's like deep, deep intuitive. So they are analytical, but they're suspicious at the same time. No secrets. You can't keep secrets from these people. They often overthink, and with the overthinking and the extreme intuition, you can't get too much over on these people. So this placement can be also an indicator of having the excessive thoughts, the intrusive thoughts, even to the point where it can manifest as health issues. So depending on other placements in the chart, this can be more true or less true. So if you are more reserved, even if you're, say, deeply fond of people around you, you need to probably take a lot of time to basically just be to yourself, and just collect your thoughts and just process everything. So these people would more, like I said, be more reserved. They will be more of a listener than a talker. So they don't trust easily, and their trust, you have to earn their trust. These are not people who will just give you their trust because you're nice and you smile in their face, because they're still trying to read you, and they have to know that they'll be able to trust you before they opened up. So trust is earned here with the Mercury and Scorpio. Now, when they get close to you, they'll share that inner world with you. But you have to be really near and dear and close to their heart before they can do that. They normally like to keep things to themselves and try to figure things out on their own before they try to ask others for help, because they want to make sure that they're really not a burden on others. So, our next placement here is the Mercury and Sagittarius. So, with our Mercury and Sagittarius, these people are basically students of life. They want to find out the meaning of existence. They believe that there's something more to it than what meets the eye, what they can see, and that is very true. So if you have the Mercury and Sagittarius, follow that. Um, they want to be out in the world. They want to explore. They want to experience. They're curious, and they have definitely an intelligent personality. They're warm. They're enthusiastic. Enthusiastic. What often This is what often makes them popular. Their personality. They're excited. They have a natural excitement and just they have a natural excitement and basically just warmth and basically exploration about just wanting to explore things in life. So people naturally just gravitate and go towards this energy because it's a good energy to be around. So one of the main lessons here for Mercury and Sagittarius is to learn to acknowledge that other people have valid points of view as well, because I know Sagittarius is also the intellectual sign, and sometimes because they feel so strongly about the things they know and believe, they kind of have a hard time seeing other people's point of view. It's kind of like that know-it-all syndrome. So if you do have the Mercury in Sagittarius, make sure you are a little mindful of that here. Our next placement is the Mercury in Capricorn. Now, Mercury in Capricorn, Earth energy here, it is still the capable and ambitious person. The intellectual energy supports the achievement of the goals. So their mind was basically made for planning, seeing patterns, and basically getting things done, like the Capricorn energy. The interest would be practical. You're interested in practical things in the first place. If you have this sign Mercury in your chart, you're good at logical thinking. Creating systems, figuring out how to optimize things, and coming up with practical solutions. Mercury in Capricorn implies that you're tactful and hardworking, what often makes successful in climbing the ladder, say if you're in a corporate world or anything like that. And actually, the Mercury in Capricorn placement is very good at climbing the corporate ladder because of the intellect and the energy that they put behind achieving those goals. So, the next placement we're going to jump into is the Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury in Aquarius is the idealistic philosopher. They're highly intelligent and a visionary. In the field, say, of ideals, they bring original thinking, humanitarianism, freedom of communication. So they're inventive. They're always thinking of something new and different. They always have a hunger for knowledge, and that's what I like about the Mercury and Aquarius placement here. People with this placement are often interested in less popular things, kind of like the things that people are a little maybe afraid to go towards, maybe uncomfortable topics that are labeled as weird. But luckily, they really don't care about what others think, and their very unique perspective allows them to notice things that most people may miss. So that is a gift with the Mercury and Aquarius placement. You appreciate, eccentric, quirky things that you like to put yourself in environments that are different from your own, so that you can that you're exposed to many different and new situations as possible. And I believe that's how they earn that intellect. So being able to put themselves in different situations and absorb the information in different environments as well. So they have an open mind. They have a progressive mind. They don't really like being around people who are really prejudiced or really small-minded. So that is basically the unique thing about Aquarius. They're very free-spirited and open-minded. So that was it for my Mercury through the 12 zodiacs. I hope you all enjoyed this series, and stay tuned for the next.